ba 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 ba. Yeah.
Is that no more click? The click went away.
It went away.
Okay, it's like we're so used to recording music that we need click track wherever we go. I need to know my tempo of my life every minute of every day.
GarageBand will do that for you.
GarageBand does everything for you.
It is the elixir of life for music.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know, it's so sad.
I know.
We're back.
We've been busy, and we've been, it's Memorial Day today. So we're maxing and relaxing.
You're dating us. You're telling people. You're
It's
telling
okay.
the people. They know now.
They know now that we recorded this only a few days before the episode has gone up.
And that's okay. You know why? Because that just shows you how good we are at getting you content.
At delivering
What the people need.
something speedy in a matter of time. Do you see those memes where it's like it'll be like a lightning strike at, this location or whatever. And then Lightning McQueen just drives by and it's like,
Welcome to On the Record.
We could do that. Welcome to On the Record, the podcast in which or the video vlog where we talk about all of the releases Storm Chasers has ever done throughout the years. And this week.
Oh.
Is episode number 5. What is that? Your 5th year anniversary. What is that? Is that wood? What's the gift for a 5-year anniversary?
Do I get one?
I mean, right now?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me see. 5-year
Wood
anniversary gift.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
so curious.
Yeah, well you have to be like 20 years to get like a watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do I
It's
get?
wood. It is wood.
Like wood, like a cutting board?
No, you do like a gift. It's so like every big anniversary, there's like a medal that you're supposed to give, or like a gift that is made of something. And so the 5-year anniversary gift is a wood gift. So I would need to get wood.
Wood.
I would need to give you something wooden.
Oh, that's very nice.
For the 5th episode, and I'm going to give you this platform.
Oh, don't touch it. It might fall.
Is it good? Only the best. Hear it on the record.
I'm very handy.
You have 2 of them. You have 2 hands.
I have 2 hands.
Very handy.
Just like this band that we're going to talk about. 2 people.
2 members.
Making an impact.
Doing something that really honestly blew my mind. I have to say, this is the first Storm Chasers release
without us.
Without us, yeah, frankly. Without Rick and I.
Good.
It was the first thing we did that was a band that kind of wasn't in our circle. And it was like the beginning stages of me wanting to expand what the label was capable of. This week, we are talking about the band Papermoons and their lovely record, No Love.
No Love.
No Love.
It should have gotten all the love.
Should have gotten tons of love.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about why maybe it didn't. But so I need to take you back in time. We're going back in time. We're going back to the year 2004. Wow. Back to a time when I played in a band called The Progress. And so the 2 members of Papermoons is my friend Danny and my friend Matt. And both of them respectively played in, Danny played in a band from Houston, Texas called Little Compass. And Matt played in a band from Akron, Ohio called Adios. Other notable members of Little Compass went on to be in a variety of different like Texas emo bands, but most notably in Adios, Jordan was the bass player who played in Swing Set and ran the Kling Thing House for a really, really long time.
That's right.
These were bands that The Progress got connected to because we were on the same label as Little Compass, which was Negative Progression.
Oh, they were on Negative Progression.
Yeah.
Really?
So I met Danny when we were ripe, young, like 18 to 20-year-olds cruising around doing DIY shows around the country. And they introduced us to Adios because Adios was touring with Little Compass, and then Progress wound up playing with both of these bands. And so these friendships were all networked in the early 2000s, and we had kept in touch since then. So the fact that Danny's gone on to play in Football Etc. and been like a staple of the Austin scene for so long. And now they live in Asheville, North Carolina. But at the time, like they were we would stay at their house when we were on tour and passing through Texas. And same with Jordan, like Jordan was the person in Akron that helped really, establish what Intuit Over It was doing in Akron, Ohio, but also bring us out to to Pittsburgh. He eventually moved to Pittsburgh, and so like whenever we would need a place, we would stay with Jordan.
Yeah, and like and Akron has just been a staple with like Kling Thing, and for so long at this point. What
for DIY-ness?
15 years plus.
Yeah, I mean,
wild,
dude. We played. Well, any 5-year anniversary Kling Thing does, we'll figure out a way to play.
Well, and what's interesting too is I remember back in the day. I don't think it exists anymore, but like. There was like a little Compass Adios, like
it's a huge poster, and I
so
guarantee you can find a photo of that somewhere. It's huge. It's like
I've never
size
seen a
of
band.
this wall.
I've never seen a band have a poster that big. It's kind of sick. We should make one.
Just an enormous fucking
it's
poster.
So cool. It's like full body. I'm tall.
So we had these connections. These are deep-seated connections, and so at the time, Now we're gonna fast forward to 2013. 2013, Danny and Matt are in this new band called Papermoons, and I'd seen some buzz about them, but hadn't really been super familiar. That said, they were playing a show at this place called Ronnie's, which was up the street from my old apartment in Logan Square. And Ronnie's, did you ever go to Ronnie's?
Yes.
Now it's called Lonesome Rose.
Yes.
So if you're ever over there,
Rose,
that's where Lonesome Rose is now in Logan Square. But at the time, Ronnie's was the diviest of dives. Like you'd come in and there'd be a bar in the front with a pool table in the center. The bathrooms were always like water was just spewing out into the center of the room. Ronnie, who was the owner, would sometimes be asleep on the pool table.
That's where I had my first Malort shot.
At Ronnie's?
Was at Ronnie's.
Oh, God. That is Chicago as hell. That is real fucking Chicago. And Ronnie's actually that's where I met Josh Sparks for the first time, was at that bar. That's where I met Kate for the first time, was at Ronnie's. So there was a lot of history surrounding that bar specifically with this label and with Intuit Over It. But so shortly after moving to Chicago, one of the first local shows I ever played was with Papermoons.
At Ronnie's?
At Ronnie's. And so
I never had the pleasure of playing Ronnie's.
Dude, I played there a few times. It was always fine. Yeah. But Matt and Danny asked me if I would play, and I said yeah. I mean, at the time, Intuit Over It wasn't really doing anything. This is like 2010, maybe 2011, like really early on in the project. And maybe it could have even been 2009. But so they're touring their album New Tales, which was the album before this. They're touring New Tales, and I say yes to playing and being part of the show. The show, I play my set, and it's whatever. And then Papermoons plays, and at the time it was Danny, Matt, and they had a pedal steel player also. But I was blown away. Like, of all the bands that they have ever been in, the two of them have ever been in, and I love Football, Etc., but like this was really like a band that I just so deeply connected with. Like really genuine, sincere songs that were a little funny, but like like you in the way that like Up Up Down Down or like or even older Intuit Over It, like just being able to be very tongue in cheek, but also very like heartwarming and pure, and with just, excellent playing. And what was so cool was how much sound they could do as just a two-piece, which, on this tour specifically, they had the pedal steel player, which definitely added a lot. But like, if you saw them as just a two-piece band, Danny's playing the drums and doing a little bit of vocals, but Matt is playing guitar, singing, and playing the bass with his feet. With the Taurus pedal, the Moog Taurus. It's like you've seen other bands do it, like Juna as a Chicago band that does it too, or like Brian Cook from Russian Circles or These Arms Are Snakes would do it also. But he's basically able to play all of the bass chords with his feet, balancing on the back of his cowboy boots while playing guitar and singing all at the same time. So it's like this incredible balancing act, performance balancing act,
such talent,
while also playing these like really pretty, beautiful songs. And I gotta say, there had to have been 5 or 6 people at this show. There was nobody there, and I was just astounded. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So I immediately buy the CD, and it didn't leave my Intrepid for the rest of the time that I had it. Those songs still remain some of my favorites. Like, Holy Cow is absolutely one of my favorite fucking songs. Follow the Sun has just a beautiful riff at the end. These are all, I've been doing a playlist of music that I listen to.
Mm-hmm. And there's on there?
There's a couple Papermoon songs on there.
Yeah.
But
they are beautiful songs.
They're just so good. So,
and this is Deep Elm, right?
They were on Deep Elm, yeah. And so this is like, but this is like later Deep Elm, you know, like Deep Elm was so established when I was a teenager, you know, like, and
the Emo Diaries.
I know, but like also like stuff like Appleseed Cast or, you know, like Pens to Take for Stars, like all these bands that I just like fucking loved. And Deep Elm had kind of changed gears in their, the way they ran the label at a certain point where they were doing more like licensing and publishing work and sync work. And releasing records for people, but mostly just digitally and on CD. Like they weren't really doing vinyl stuff,
which is how we sneak in. But we'll get there. So we'll get there.
You know. So they play, and I fall in love with this band. I fall in love with this record, and I hit them up, and I'm like, "Hey, look, like, I want to release the vinyl for New Tales. I want to do this record." And I think there was some confusion. My memory serves that there was some confusion around the licensing for the record. So it would have been cost prohibitive for me to do New Tales. But while they were in these conversations about me potentially doing that record, they were explaining that they were finishing a new record, which wound up being this, No Love. So it was like, oh my God, a new one? I would love to do a new one. So they put out the record in 2013, right around, and it's digital. Digital, I don't even think they did CDs. I think it was digital only. Yeah. But the permissions surrounding us doing the vinyl for it were a little different. We were able to do it at a much more equitable cost structure, like with how Deep Elm was involved.
And like we said earlier, first one that is outside of...
The first one that's outside of, our bands. You know, it's like trying to expand the label beyond into like helping other folks.
Which is the big deal, you know?
So I set it up. We get the artwork all done. The digital is already out, but we're going to release the vinyl later. And they have a pretty busy touring schedule. And one of those tours was, it was like the first tour that the vinyl was going to be available. When Into It Over It was touring with The World Is and A Great Big Pile of Leaves. It was like the big Intersections headliner, like the last tour we were doing that year. We put local support on all of the shows. And so we would, you know, every city we would pick like the coolest emo or indie band that we knew that would be able to open. And that was, when I say we, I mean like either me or World Is or Great Big Pile of Leaves. Like if we had a band that we really repped that was from that city, they would open the show. And a lot of the shows were super well curated. We got to play with tons of super awesome bands during that tour and see a lot of like what became like the biggest bands in the scene, like at their earliest stages, be a part of that tour. But so for Texas, which is where Papermoons is from, they're from Austin. We had them just do all of the Texas shows. So we had them do Austin, I think it was Austin, Houston, and Dallas. I think were the 3 shows that we did. And right around that time was when we were able to get vinyl ready for this release. So I pressed 50 test presses just so they would have records in time for those shows, and we could treat them as kind of like a release show weekend. And they sold all 50 in those 3 shows. And I was like, man, this is going to be great.
So great.
This is going to be great. Like anyone who sees this band is absolutely in love with this band. Like I can't blame them because they're incredible. They were one of the few bands of the tour too, where like everyone on the tour stopped to watch what they were doing. And I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to put this record out. Like people, they got all these tours coming up. I can't wait to see what's going on.
And before you continue, because the story's going to get juicy a little.
The story gets a little juicy.
But whoa. Tricky. You feel that? Oh, because it's. Let's explain why that happened.
Well, so
I don't know what this is. Is this a CD?
That's a CD. That's the No Love CD. The tour
they made
CD
a CD. They did make a CD.
Well, they had actually not of No Love. I'm sorry. Excuse me. This is the
New Tales.
New Tales.
Oh, it's New Tales.
So
never mind.
They as like a package, you would buy the vinyl for No Love, and you'd get like a DIY CD of New Tales for the tour. And I kept this package the way that it was from that show.
We didn't put this out, so I'm kidding.
Get out of here, package. But yeah, so with this was, I don't even have copies of the original anymore. Like I sold every single copy that I had of the actual pressing. This is like the test press? This is the test press pressing from that show. And this is number 1 of 50.
This is why it fell. I didn't realize it was.
So, and this was also the last record we did that had kind of like a fun artwork thing where like this kind of comes up halfway. I always love when bands do these like fold over kind of things. And But yeah, this doesn't even have an insert. They didn't even have inserts made because it was so early on in the process. So yeah, I'm like white labels, like no art labels at all, which like eventually the real one had some art on the record labels, like the vinyl labels. But so we get these records, they all sell out. And I'm so excited about it. Like, man, I made a good investment. Like this is gonna be really, really good. The next tour that they had was going to Europe with Football Etc. And so Danny's pulling double duty on football.
Oh, so he wasn't
football at that time.
I was wondering.
So he's pulling double duty. He's playing both sets, and which is great because for both bands to go over, it's only 4 flights. Right. So it's super affordable, right? And Papermoons. This is like right after we got the vinyl, and I sent them all the records for the European tour. On that tour, they break up.
Is this the noise?
The sad trombone. Give me.
I found it,
dude. Which is like a tale as old. The record scratch.
Yeah, truly.
That's a tale as old as time for a record label. Like you invest all this money and time, you put out this thing, and then the band breaks up right away.
Telling everybody about it.
Oh so God! And it's like, ew. I had 300 something records in my house. Like after giving the band some, I think I had like 270 records, and it took me years to get rid of those LPs.
It's tough because it is such a great,
it's such a good album,
great record.
And like and No Love is a little different than New Tales. It's a little moodier. It's a little vibier. They also take a lot more chances with what they're doing creatively, which was super, super cool. And it's a record I wish more people heard, but this was the project because this came out after. This wound up actually coming, even though it's number 5. I think it came out after we had done the zine, after we had done Forgettable, after we had done maybe even after we had done Jazz June. Like this was like one of the last things that we really wound up doing, even though the catalog number was number 5. And yeah, dude, it was just such a crazy time to put records out because like I was really hoping that this would have been the thing that could have really like brought Storm Chasers to the next level, and it really wound up making me not want to put out records again for a really long time.
Well, let me make you feel better. Let's listen to Good Night, Son.
It's such a good song.
Good night, son. She said, don't take advantage of the ones you thought you knew you loved.
And we're back. All
Man,
right.
what a tune.
What a tune.
I gotta, they were just so fucking good. You know, so I think
It's beautiful. Like, they're just beautiful songs. I keep saying it, but
it really, really fortunate band. And do we we hit up Danny and we asked Danny to kind of give some perspective on how the record was made and you know, what went into the making of the record. And I think they had some stuff to say. Can we cut to Danny talking about this record a little bit?
Hey, this is Danny, and I play drums in Papermoons, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the record No Love. So No Love was an album, it was our second album, and it came out in 2013, digitally issued through Deep Elm, and then released as a CD in Japan on Stiff Slack. And we were trying to find, you know, someone to put it out on vinyl, having no luck. And then through some conversations with Evan, he volunteered to release it through Storm Chasers, which was amazing and something, you know, I'm still so thankful for, you know, 10 years later. And here we are talking about it. So, but yeah, it was, it's a beautiful record and one that, you know, I'm still proud of today. And, you know, it was a band that, kind of had many different seasons, and it started in 2006 and, we would do it for a couple years and then people would move and life would, you know, get in the way. And, we always found time to kind of like work it back in. And so the band had a couple different iterations. And the No Love era ended up being the final iteration of the band. But despite all of that, it's still something, you know, a record that I'm enormously proud of. And, you know, I'm proud of Matt for recording it and doing such a wonderful job. You know, he's certainly, you know, one of the most talented people I've, you know, been able to play music with. And it was such a cool thing that he recorded all the records that the band put out, basically in places where we lived. And No Love was recorded in an improvised studio in his backyard in Austin. And I think we started working on it probably in 2012, I think was when we were recording it. You know, it took a while, being one of those things that we just did it when we had time. So probably the band got back together in like 2011 or something like that, and then started writing and then, you know, recording all these songs. So it's kind of a long process, but by the time Evan got involved, then we were ready to really kind of like give it a go. We released the album. It was really cool, actually. Into It Over, it was coming through Texas. And so we played most of those shows, and then those ended up being the release shows for the record, which was awesome. Such a cool way to put the album out and for Evan to be there and, you know, to play these great shows. It was really cool. And then a couple weeks later, we went to Europe, supporting football, etc., and did like the UK, and then a little bit of Europe, and then it's a longer story that we won't get into, but and that was about it. And so it was kind of a very short-lived album cycle, which is unfortunate, but you know, sometimes that's just how things work out. So, but despite all of that, it's, you know, it's an amazing record, and you know, it's a great listen from start to finish. So thank you, Evan, for releasing it for us.
I love hearing from Danny.
Man, you know, also
What a good dude.
the football stuff. Have you heard the new football, etc. stuff, like the 7-inch they did last year? Oh my God, it's so good.
They're a great band. You should listen to Football, etc. If you don't,
I think they have a song. It's called Woodwork. I think is the
just
name
like
of one of the newer tunes.
just like my 5-year anniversary present.
Yeah, just
Wood.
Let me tell you the song that I've just
Wood.
been obsessed with lately. Real quick, the Football, etc. song.
Please.
Yeah, it's called Woodwork. Go find that song. It's a beautiful song. It actually feels like a Kitty Hawk tune a little bit.
You know, I was going to say when I was listening to the Papermoons record, No Love, what we're talking about, I was like, man, this band would have been such a good band for Kitty Hawk to play with.
Oh, it's a perfect fit.
I was like, wow, like, why didn't we do that?
And that's the thing is like they could have fit in
A lot
so
of-
many different arenas.
Yeah.
Like they were really malleable in a way where they made sense on the emo show, but they also would have made perfect sense touring with a band like Wild Pink. They would have made perfect sense touring with a band like Rat Boys. They would have made perfect sense touring, with any number of bands that kind of like meld that emo country, indie sound. Like they just fit. They were just likable, like a really likable band.
And it just fits, just like you all subscribing and being beautiful Patreon members for us here at Storm
For our
Chasers.
Patreon at Storm Chasers.
You're a beautiful puzzle piece for us. You fit just right.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and you're just here to watch us talk about these records, that's also
That's cool. I mean, overall info, we did 300 copies after these 50 test presses. So there's 350 in the wild. There's 100 black, 100 clear, and 100 red. And
Ooh, like solid red?
clear red. Like a clear red.
Very nice.
But yeah, we did about 300. I don't think there was overage, so I think it was 100 each. And if you have one, awesome. I hope they're actually pretty hard to find now. And I don't even have a copy, so if you have an extra copy, hit me up. Excuse me, because I would maybe like to have one that isn't this rare test press version of it. But yeah, super great record, super awesome band. I think we should maybe send you out with a live video if we can find it. Or is there live videos?
Yeah, I think we found some, and we'll play the song Matchbook.
Okay.
For you as we leave. But yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Guys, I hope the videos do it justice. Please scope out this band. Find these records. New Tales and No Love specifically, unbelievable band. Really, really cool albums. I'm glad I got to work on it. I'm glad I've had a piece of it. I would still do New Tales now if Deep Elm's licensing fees are lower. Maybe they are now that the
Deep
band
Elm,
doesn't
if you're
exist.
listening.
Deep Elm, if you're listening, let's
Let
talk
us
about
know.
New Tales because I would still put that record out. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
I couldn't wait to tell you just what I found down. Your black and rubber city, your light is so pretty.
ba, 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 ba,